Support WrestleTalk!
Thank you for your awesome support on Patreon, Ben. Hey now, you're a rock star. Haley. Roman Reigns jumps to SmackDown. Finn Balor jumps to SmackDown. And Canada is not a fan of Bayley jumping to SmackDown. What did she ever do to you, Canada? And did Luke Harper really try to quit WWE? Click the timestamps down below to jump to any of those segments. I am Luke Owen. Have yourself a super click party by subscribing and hitting the thumbs up, and leave a comment down below to answer our question of the day. Who do you think won the 2019 Superstar Shake-Up out of Raw and SmackDown? And make sure you vote in the poll above my head to let me know what you thought of the show, where you can choose from SmackDown, Smacktastic, Smack Bang in the Middle, SmackDowner, and a smack in the face. This is the 16th of April 2019 edition of SmackDown Live, the final night of the 2019 Superstar Shake-Up. Quebec's own Kevin Owens opened the show to a huge reaction, popping the crowd by welcoming everyone in French. He brought out WWE Champion Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, pointing out that Big E is missing due to being on the injured shelf from a torn meniscus. Owens then offered himself up as an honorary member of New Day for the evening, which was accepted by Woods in Kingston when Big O put on the New Day crop top and ate a whole plate of pancakes backstage.
Actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Just not gonna bring up the fact that Owens was part of Kofi getting screwed out of that WWE Championship match at Fastlane? Nope. Okay then. This set up a 6-man tag later in the show where they would take on Rusev, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro, the evil foreigner experience. SmackDown's first draft of the evening was Finn Balor, who then had a really good match with Ali. Balor won with a coup de grace and then shook hands with Ali after the match. This is a good change of scenery for Balor, who might even be able to get back into that main event mix. And it's interesting to note that SmackDown currently has both the Intercontinental and United States Championships, with Samoa Joe unable to jump to Raw on Monday night due to being out with the flu, but one will assume he'll make the leap once he's back and healthy. And before you say the Superstar Shake-Up is over and everyone has been assigned a brand, I don't have a brand yet! I genuinely forgot Carmella won the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal just over a week ago, and she then lost to Charlotte Flair in a decent match when Flair tapped her out with the figure 8. While I don't want to just see Flair and Lynch feud over the title again, Charlotte does seem a bit directionless at the moment. When Lars Sullivan attacked Kurt Angle and the Hardy Boys last week, Ollie and I joked that Sully was targeting stars from WWE's Attitude Era, which was furthered when he beat up Rey Mysterio on Raw, who admittedly was in WCW during WWE's Attitude Era, and then he set his sights on former Road Dogg partner and Attitude Era stalwart K-Quick. Truth got in some offense but was slammed by the much larger Sullivan to very little reaction. So Lars is on SmackDown, which is a shame really, as a feud between Lars and Rey would have been a really good way to establish Sully on the main roster. Becky Two Belts came out for a promo where she was accosted by the newest members of the SmackDown women's roster, Ember Moon and Bayley, the latter of which announced she is now a single star and was booed by the Canadian crowd for some reason. Probably your fault, Baron Corbin. While Montreal might not have been happy about it, I am thrilled that both Moon and Bayley are on SmackDown, and I'm hoping we can see good singles runs for both of them. The Iconics came out to cut a promo. I smell some sort of tag match coming. Paige here then came out to introduce the tag team she promised last week, which wasn't Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville like they thought it would be. Weren't you teasing a breakup just a few weeks ago? So who will this tag team be? Will it be some NXT UK call-ups to tie into Paige's British heritage? Will it be the heavily speculated Sky Pirates, despite Paige managing them making little sense? Well, it was sort of that. Paige announced the Franken team of Asuka and one half of the Sky Pirates, Kairi Sane. All the SmackDown women brawled in the ring, and it led to an 8-woman tag match which Sane won by pinning Peyton Royce with the Insane Elbow. I'm happy to see Kairi Sane on the main roster, even if she is part of the Japanese experience, as this one person put it on Twitter, but a random tag team with Asuka does seem like a waste of her character. If you're not going to bring her up with her established partner Io Shirai, then a singles run would have probably been better suited. With that said, the SmackDown women's division is now stacked with talent, with Becky, Charlotte Flair, Bayley, Ember Moon, Carmella, the Iconics, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Liv Morgan, and Mickie James. Oh yeah, WWE.com listed Liv Morgan and James as new SmackDown stars, along with Chad Gable, Apollo Crews, and Heavy Machinery, which means they're actually lower on the totem pole than Eric Young. Asuka and Kairi Sane going into a tag feud with the Iconics over the title isn't the worst thing in the world. And the total opposite of the worst thing in the world happened next, as the best kept secret Buddy Murphy was announced to be joining the Blue brand. This is fabulous news. Big O then teamed with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods to take on Cesaro, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rusev in a total house show match. Nothing special, and the good guys won. It will be interesting to see who WWE set up as the next challenger for Kofi's WWE Championship, as we're no clearer on that since him winning the title. Daniel Bryan hasn't been seen since WrestleMania, and the only other top heel the brand has is Randy Orton, which doesn't exactly feel like a fresh feud. It's just going to be Lars, isn't it? And that's nothing against Lars, it just feels a bit soon. Me again, I also have a creepy doll's house and a girlfriend now! And the main event segment saw Vince McMahon come out to quickly announce who his major acquisition for SmackDown is. Will it be Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, Baron Corbin? No, it was Elias. The 2019 shakeup might have broken up Sanity, Rude and Gable, Sky Pirate, Boss and Hug Connection, and the Riot Squad, but the mid-card of evil will always live on. Elias got zero reaction coming out, and his promo was quickly interrupted by SmackDown's newest star, Roman Reigns, who gave Elias the Superman punch and even gave one to Vince McMahon too. I cannot wait for this storyline to never be mentioned again. Roman jumping to SmackDown should feel like a much bigger deal. This is, after all, the company's golden goose, one of their few legitimate draws. But his return since going into remission has been spectacularly flat, and a boring match with Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania certainly didn't help. Hopefully this can be a fresh start for Roman now he's back on the Blue brand, but SmackDown really is lacking in top heels at the moment. Overall though, I'd say that SmackDown did rather well in this year's shakeup. Getting Balor, Murphy, Sullivan and Roman should help both the mid-card and main event scenes. Elias will provide some weekly filler, and the women's division got a much needed jolt with Ember Moon, Bayley and Kairi Sane. The only thing that suffered was the tag division, with the Hardys having no credible challengers lined up. With all that said, this was a perfectly fine episode of SmackDown with some decent wrestling and a couple of nice surprises. The brand has a bright future for 2019, but this episode was smack bang in the middle. And now over to Ollie Davis, who has the latest on Luke Harper trying to quit.
Great review, Luke. But Roman Reigns, Finn Balor, Elias, Bayley, Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, Lars Sullivan and Buddy Murphy weren't the only wrestlers to jump to SmackDown last night. Because, as we all know, the biggest trades happen on WWE.com. So congratulations to Liv Morgan, breaking up the Riot Squad, Chad Gable, breaking up his former Raw Tag Team Championship act, I know I forgot about that too, with Bobby Roode, Apollo Crews, breaking up, Titus Worldwide, is that still a thing? Mickie James, breaking up. I can't remember whether she was a heel or face last time we saw her. Probably something to do with Alexa Bliss. And Heavy Machinery's Otis and Tucker now officially joining the Blue brand. Expect them to be called Machine Experience by next week. But there's a few names missing from Raw and SmackDown's post-Superstar shakeup rosters, and one of them currently has the United States title. After starting a program with Braun Strowman on last week's episode of SmackDown, it seems US champion Samoa Joe will be switching brands to Raw to continue that feud. WrestlingNews.co claim their next interaction was actually meant to happen on Monday's episode, where a segment between the two was planned. But Joe was sick with the flu, so officials just put EC3 in his place for Braun to squash. Sorry, EC3. To Joe's enormous credit, he still showed up at Raw despite Fightful Select describing his condition as being sick to the point of barely functioning. Joe is still expected to be on Monday nights going forward, especially with Finn Balor moving his Intercontinental Championship to SmackDown yesterday. Another missing name's future from the Superstar shakeup, however, is significantly more uncertain. Following Ty Dillinger, Hideo Itami and TJP all being released from WWE in February, Dean Ambrose opting not to renew his contract that expires this month, and reports the Revival, Sasha Banks and Micah Maria Kanellis have all tried to quit backstage in 2019 so far, we have the latest WWE star who has attempted to leave the promotion. And this one isn't based on speculation of who they're following on Twitter or backstage reports. It comes from the person's official Twitter account themselves, with Luke Harper posting, "As of this evening, I have requested a release from WWE. The past 6 years have been a simply amazing journey around the world and back with lifelong friends and family. I am proud to say I shared the ring with my co-workers. This decision, as difficult as it was, feels right for myself and WWE. My goal in the future is to continue to grow as a performer and person and continue to make my family proud. Thank you. From the top to the bottom of WWE, thank you to the fans for your undying support. Thank you, everyone." Harper debuted on the main roster as part of the Wyatt family in 2012, but despite their popularity, the faction disbanded just 2 years later. He was repackaged in late 2017 as the Bludgeon Brothers with his former Wyatt family member Eric Rowan, but both got injured after last year's SummerSlam, with Harper taking time out to recover from wrist surgery. He posted a long statement the week before WrestleMania, revealing how he's been cleared to return since February 6th, and he finally came back to WWE TV at the When Worlds Collide Access event in a very well-received match against Donovan Dijak, or whatever he's currently called, probably the Dijak Experience. He also unceremoniously returned to the main roster as a surprise participant in the Memorial Andre the Royal Giant battle at WrestleMania. Perhaps on realizing he wouldn't feature in post-WrestleMania plans though, he decided to take control of his career. The Wrestling Observer reports that WWE haven't yet granted his release, and his contract expires in November. Harper is a 2-time SmackDown Tag Team Champion and a 1-time Intercontinental Champion, which I'd forgotten about until I just looked it up on Wikipedia. It just so happens all these WWE release requests have happened since All Elite Wrestling officially announced themselves earlier this year, which I'm sure is a total coincidence. CM Punk to AEW confirmed. I mean, Luke Harper to AEW confirmed. Is Fortnite killing Battle Royale games? Find out El Fakador's thoughts by clicking the Screenstalker video on the right, and hear the massive fan backlash against WWE's latest name change disaster by clicking the video just below it. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.